What we did on Friday was we had 2 variables you had to solve for, and you got an ordered pair when you were done. When we had 2 variables, how many equations did we have? 2. When we have 3 variables, how many equations do we need to have? We need to have 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is label those equations 1, 2, and 3. Now, when you find this answer, which we'll do in a moment, but when you find this answer, I'm just going to go off to the side. You don't even have to copy this down if you don't want to, because you're not going to do anything with this. I want to explain, when you find 3 variables, it is where 3 equations overlap, but these 3 equations have 3 variables, so it's not just an x and a y axis. There's a z-axis as well. So the z-axis is like what makes this 3-dimensional. So if you were going to like do 2 on the x and like 1 on the y, and then maybe you do 4 on the z, I don't know. It would like be out here, and you'd like, I know it's hard to see. So how about instead of trying to look at my picture, you just look at the wall. I'm looking at the front wall there where the corner would be like the y, and then here's my door right here. There's my door. So that top side would be like the x, and then this one here could be the y. Or I could switch the x. Yeah, that's what I'm sorry. I meant z. Okay. Okay. It's 3-dimensional.
It's a 3rd dimension.
It is. And in it was either Calc 3 or Calc 4. I can't remember which one it was. In Calc 3 or Calc 4. Oh, I lied. In Calc 2 or Calc 3. I didn't even know what I was saying. Calc 2 or Calc 3, that's where I learned about a 4th dimension. Yeah, there is. Probably. Nope. Oh, so we're going to do, I'm sorry, we're not doing that one. We're doing this one here. Time. Or temperature. Could be temperature. In the room, it's a different temperature. I don't know, but we're not going to discuss that right now. All right, guys, you're going to look at equation 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to say...
How come the 3rd equation only has x and y and not a z?
Because reasons. Z is 1, 0. No.
Does that make you feel a little better?
No. Yes.
Should we write that down?
You just asked why it doesn't have a z. Because there is no z.
So it doesn't have a z, which actually makes us have less steps to do.
And now you added it back.
Oh, no. He didn't really add it back. Okay. So I'm going to look at equation 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to have to eliminate a variable. Now, was that Jake who yelled that out?
Yeah.
Okay, Jake was already noticed that equation 3 is missing a variable. It's missing z. So you're going to have to eliminate a variable. I feel like z sounds like a variable to eliminate because this one's already missing z. And in order to solve for 2 variables, we need 2 equations. I have 1 equation that's missing z. So I need 2 equations that's missing z. So I'm going to eliminate z. And I always write this down because I try to do as much as I possibly can to give you guys less mistakes when you do it yourself. So if I do it, it's probably a good idea to do it. I'm going to eliminate z. I'm writing myself a note. That's what I'm doing right now. Look at equation 1 and 2 because both of those have z. I need to get rid of z, and I'm going to use elimination. So in order to eliminate z, both z's have to have what number? What number? 15. Now, that would be nice if they were both 5 or both 3, but that's I'd have to multiply by a fraction, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to multiply by something that makes them both 15. Actually, one of them has to be negative 15. One has to be positive 15. So if I multiply my top one by 5, what will I multiply number 2 by? 3. negative 3, so that one of them ends up being positive 15 and one ends up being negative 15. So I'm going to rewrite equation 1. Distribute the 5 to everything. So I get 5x minus 10y plus 15z equals 45. I'm going to rewrite equation 2. Distribute the negative 3 to everything. Negative 6x plus 15y minus 15z equals negative 51. If you are not as fast at multiplying as me, either get faster at it or you can use your calculator when you multiply. It's just, for me, it takes me longer to find my calculator and type the numbers in than it would be just to multiply 3 times 17.
So don't we have to do 3 through those?
No, because now if I add these together, what happens to my z's? So I get 5 plus negative 6 is negative 1x. You don't have to write the 1.
We just say negative.
You can, yep.
So
I did that in my last class and then I confused people, so I want to make sure I don't confuse anybody. So negative 10y plus 15y is positive 5y. And then equals a negative 6. When I get down to two variables, I give this a different name because we're going to stay organized. I call this one equation A. Okay? Now, I have 2 variables in equation A. In order to solve, when we have 2 variables, how many equations do we need?
2.
So I need a second equation that has just x and y in it.
Number 3.
You see, that's why I waited. That's why I waited to do something to equation 3, because now I'm going to use it as my second equation. I'm going to call it B, yeah.
Why don't you call it 3B?
I guess you could if you want to write more things. I'm trying to do the minimum amount of work, but still, like, stay organized. Okay, so once I have an A and a B equation, I now have 2 equations with 2 variables. So now we do what we did on Friday. It could be elimination or substitution. I'm going to tell you every time. But you could do substitution if you have 2 variables, if you want. Can I add these right now and have something eliminate?
No, we can multiply 1 by negative 1.
Which one should I multiply by negative 1?
Does not matter.
It does not matter, so I'm just going to choose the second one. I'm going to equation A, so I'm going to stay organized. Equation B by multiplying everything by negative 1. And when I add those up, my x's should eliminate. I get 2y equals negative 2. Divide both sides by 2. We have y equals negative 1. So once you get down to 1 variable, 1 equation, you can solve that. So we went from 3 variables with 3 equations, down to 2 variables with 2 equations, down to 1 variable with 1 equation, found that answer. But I have to find x, y, and z. I'm going to take this answer, we're going to do something called back substitution.
Plug it into 3.
Nope. I mean, you could, but I'm not going to call it 3. Back substitution. We're going to either plug it in A or B. Okay? So you look at your A or B right here. We're going to look at our A or B. Plug in. It's either A or B. Which equation would you like to plug in the y?
Let's do B.
I say
B.
A.
It does not matter. It's A or B. You could do A. Whoever said they want A. I'm going to do B. It does not matter. So negative 1x plus 3 times negative 1, which is that's what y got, or what I got for y, equals negative 4. So now I have 1 equation with 1 variable I can solve for x. Negative 1x minus 3 equals negative 4. Add 3. Negative 1x equals negative 1. So x has to be 1. It's still there, just slow. So x has to be 1. So now I know y is -1, x is +1. We're going to go back further to where we have 3 variables.
Hey, let's do number 3.
Nope, we're going to, why would I not do number 3?
Because we need Z.
Right, so I'm going to plug in 1. Plug in 1. Remember yesterday we did plug in 1. So x is 1 minus 2 times y is -1 plus 3z equals 9. So I get 1 plus 2 plus 3z equals 9. 3 plus 3z equals 9. Subtract 3. 3z equals 6. Divide by... Yes, you should be faster than me. Z equals 2. Because I'm talking through it all. And I get distracted easily.
Wait, so what's the order of pair? Just one thing.
We're not done yet, because is there a possibility? Is there a possibility I forgot a negative somewhere, or I added something wrong, or I multiplied something incorrectly? So you plug in 1, what do we do next? Check in 2. It's the same thing we did yesterday, there's just more work. So 2 times,
Be on this for hours.
you might.
Oh my god.
That is on video.
I did.
Okay, so I check in 2 and it checks. I'm not done yet. We got check in 3. But that one's not so bad because that one only had 2 variables, so
Oh, bro, we have to check it 3.
That's what she said?
that's what I said. That one checks. Okay, once you've plugged in 1, checked in 2, checked 3, now you can say, all right, I'm right. I got all checks.
You were gonna just check A and B too. I was like,
No.
I'm done.
No. You know you're done when you can plug in 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, why did you put in 2 for Z?
What?
2 for Z by 5.
Because Z equals 2.
Because when I solved for Z, I got 2. Is that what you're asking about? Okay.
Someone's phone is just spazzing out.
I know, it's annoying. So how you write your answer is called an ordered triple.
That's fine.
Ordered triple.
Do we get to graph that?
No, we're not going to. I just wanted to...
Whoa. What's that?
We were doing it while you were doing your own thing over there.
That's the order pair because...
No, it's not an ordered pair.
Well, what is it? Or triple?
Which one's the C? Is that the 2? I mean, that's the variable.
XYZ. Order.
X, Y, Z.
Order.
Order matters.
Ordered triple. That's what it's called.
So there's 2 close orders.
Ordered pair.
I might not have enough first for this.
Okay,
Right.
the next one. First thing we have to do is we have to get 2 variables with 2 equations. Right now we have 3 variables with 3 equations. We have to get 2 variables. I'm sorry, I said equation. No, we need to get 2 equations with 2 variables.
I said we use the number.
You cannot add them all together. You can add 2 at a time. So what you do is you decide what variable we're going to eliminate before you do anything else. You decide. Josh, what do you think? I cannot hear Josh.
I'm going to get rid of Y.
You're going to get rid of y. Why?
If you multiply the second equation by -1, you can easily get rid of the Y.
Mm-hmm. And then we are going to have to use the equation 3, which you don't know that yet, but we are going to have to use the equation 3, and that's only a 2. So they're pretty low numbers, and I think those are going to be easy to kind of make the same. So I agree with Josh, but you don't have to agree with Josh. You could do something different. Right now I would not recommend that, but you could do something different. Yes.
Could you possibly do X
Because it's 1, 2, and 4, yeah. You could also do Z, because it's 1, -1, and then just a 5. You could do any of them. But you got to go with one and stick to it. So I called on Josh. Josh said we're doing y, so we're going to eliminate y. That's why I write it down. We're going to eliminate y. You can only do 2 equations at a time. So let's look at equation 1 and 2. Now, Josh said this already. But if you're going to eliminate y, one of these we're going to have to multiply by what number?
-1.
Okay, I'm going to multiply the first one by -1. He said do the second one. I disagreed with him, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I can do what I want. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying there are so many different ways of doing these and still getting the right answer that I know nobody's going to have an identical homework assignment unless you copied.
Or unless. No.
Are you okay?
Okay, you can.
Okay, so we are going to add together equation 1 and equation 2. That's going to eliminate my y's. I'm going to get x plus 4z equals 7. Question.
Why are you multiplying equation 2 by -1?
I'm not.
You don't need to.
I'm multiplying equation 1 by -1 so that I will have one positive y and one negative y. In order to cancel,
Get one positive, one negative.
in order to cancel, that we have to have one of each sign. Yep. I'm going to call this new equation, equation A, one variable, equation A. But I have to have 2 equations with when I have 2 variables. I am going to have to use equation 3, but I can't use 3 by itself. So I'm looking at equation 3 that has a 2y, and you have to eliminate the same variable. That's why I wrote it down. It has to be y both times. So if I'm getting rid of y, and this is positive 2y, maybe I'll multiply equation 2 by what number? What can I multiply equation 2 by? So equation 2 is going to be 4x minus 2y plus 10z equals 8. And equation 3 I did not have to change. 4x plus 2y minus z equals 2. Now add those up and I'm going to get 8x.
Is that an equals 8 or is that?
That's an 8.
It looks like 2
Yeah.
2 donuts. Sorry. Constantly having equations equaling 2 donuts, so I see where that's confusing.
Did you do the second equation by 2 so that the -2 and the plus get lost?
That's exactly why I did it. Yeah?
Couldn't
Yep.
afford it. Oh, wait. We're out of trial.
So now I have an equation A and an equation B. And in equation A and equation B, we have 2 variables, the exact same 2 variables, and we have 2 equations. So now we're just doing what we did for our last assignment. It's like this was the original question. Can I add these up and eliminate?
No.
No. So I'm going to have to multiply to try to eliminate. Which variable looks easier? X. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by what number? By -8. That's not an 8. -8. So I'm going to rewrite equation A. -8x minus 32z equals -56. B, 8x.
Why did you put negative in? Oh, that might be.
Oh my god, I canceled the wrong thing. And I'm in.
Yeah, notice my pencil, because I make a lot of mistakes.
Well, I don't have
I'll get more than one.
I do not have
I don't have this one.
Okay, when I add these up, my 8x and my -8x cancel out, and I get -23z equals -46. But I promise you, I didn't give you any questions on here that have horrible answers. So if you divide both sides by -23,
Oh. Bro, we don't even know what X or Y is.
you get z equals 2.
Oh, no, when Z is the.
We're in the way there.
So that's our first.
These take a while. That means they're worth more on the test.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
Wait,
This
I have a question.
this is usually some people's favorite stuff to do. What?
Is this gonna be one of those sections where we don't have a test?
So you get a crayon.
Or a quiz?
Oh, maybe.
I actually
Go on the test.
This math is fun.
like, yeah.
Okay,
Math all day.
we're not done yet.
Oh, boy.
After we find one variable, we back substitute into A or B.
It's good.
I'm thinking A.
Yeah. Hey.
You're reading this one?
No, the first example where it says.
Oh, yeah. But you can plug in either. So I'm going to plug in A for this one. I have x plus 4 times 2 equals 7. So x plus 8 equals 7. Take away 8. So now I have two variables. Now we go all the way back to the original, and we're going to plug in 1. Plug in 2, plug in 3. So plug in 1. So x is negative 1 minus y plus z is 2 equals negative 3. This is plug in 1
Plug in what? Equation?
in the equation number 1. So I get negative y plus 1 is negative 3. Take away 1.
I got one.
Y is negative 4. Divide by negative 1. I got y is 4.
Austin, you're wrong.
That doesn't mean he's wrong. I might have made a mistake.
No, that's me.
I make a lot of silly mistakes.
That's me.
That's why we do check. After we get all three variables, now we check in 2, and then we will check in 3 also. So 2 times negative 1 minus 4 plus 5 times 2 equals 4. So negative 2 minus 4 plus 10. Negative 6 plus 10, that does equal 4. Check. And check in 3. I wrote really big. I ran out of space. Check in 3, we've got
Oh my god.
4 times negative 1 plus 2 times.
That does not check.
My hand.
Mine does. I got negative 6 plus 8 equals 2, and that checks.
Oh,
So my answer should be negative 1, 4, 2. If you need your aid of calculator to type this in correctly, make sure you use the parentheses, and your calculator will do order of operations for you.
Ouch.
Okay, we're going to go all the way to the last.
Order from X, Y, Z.
Yes.
Type it in.
Yes. X, Y, Z. We're going to go to the last example.
I don't even know if I have space for that.
Okay, so the last one we won't solve all the way. The last one we will set up, but you won't have space to do the last one and solve it. But I want to make sure that this one is on the video, and then any extra time we'll go work the one above it. Okay? So, block day. An amphitheater charges $75 for each seat in section A, $55 for each seat in section B, and $30 for a lawn seat. There are 3 times as many seats in section B as section A. The revenue from selling all 23,000 seats is $870,000. How many seats are in each section of the amphitheater? Well, we can find that out. This is a real-life application of where you would use 3 variables, and you would use systems to solve that. The first thing you have to do is come up with unknowns. What are we trying to find?
A, B, and C.
The section.
We're trying to find out how many seats are in each section, and there's 3 different sections. So I'm going to start out by saying, I'm going to use an X variable, and that's going to represent the number of seats in section A. I'm going to use Y to represent the number of seats in section B. And I will use Z to represent the number of seats in section B. I mean C.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Which
Said it wrong.
revenue has to do nothing with this.
No, it has to do with it.
Tons.
So revenue is how much money they brought in for selling out the amphitheater. Okay? So this XYZ is the number of how many seats are in each section. With this information and with the information in this paragraph, in order to solve for 3 variables, how many equations do I have to have? I need 3 equations. So we look for things that are equivalent. We look for totals to set up equations. I like to look for totals first. What is a total you see up there?
$870,000.
Okay, that is a total. That's the one I'm going to choose as my second one.
1,000 seats.
That is another total.
$55.
That is not a total. That's a per.
There are 3 sections.
Yep, we have that over here.
Wait, so you have to add the 75, 55, and 30 together?
No, we're going to get there in a second. Let's just do the 23,000 first. What is 23,000? 23,000 what?
Seats.
That's the total seats. So over here, what are the individual seats?
X, Y, Z.
So if I add together,
X plus Y plus Z.
I get the total. Are you finished? Okay. If I add together X plus Y plus Z, I get. Now, what is 870 a total of?
Seats.
No.
Hydro flash. Revenue. Monies.
Is money. Is money. But if I add together 75 plus 55 plus 30, that's not going to equal $870,000.
How do you know?
Because it's 75 per seat. It's going to be 75x plus 55y plus 30z. Question.
Would another total be X equals 3Y?
It's going to be something like that. That will be our third equation. That will be our third equation. So let's look at that. Let's see if what you said is correct or not. It was my phone convo.
Oh, I thought it was raised.
Was that fantasy football or ESPN? You do
Well,
fantasy football?
yeah. Okay. So this says there are 3 times as many seats in section B as in section A. Looking at the picture or reading this, which one has more? Section B or section A?
A. Hey, it says $75 per.
No, I'm not asking what costs more.
It says there's 3 times as many seats.
There are 3 times as many seats in section B as A. Which of these 2 has more seats?
B.
Right. So if I were like looking at a scale, it would be like, right? You know those scale things?
Whoa. Like a seesaw.
Yeah, like a scale that you put the weights on.
With the money?
Sure. A balance scale. Thank you. How can I make them balanced? If we take A and I do 3 A's, that's going to equal 1 B. Okay, B is 3 times as big, so if I do 3 A's, so if I do, what's A? X, if I do 3 X's, that equals 1 a Y. Now, is that what you had said, Jake, or did you say it the other way around?
Do we have this?
Okay.
Do we have this on the home?
It's in the problem.
Yeah.
Like this specific, like kind of problem.
Literally the same.
This is the whole one.
Okay, so then from there, you would use this to solve your multi-step problem, but I'm going to stop there for this equation. We're not going to solve it. I'd rather just go one more, do one more of these examples, rather than the really big numbers. But I want to have a video that has one more example in it.
Wait, so this thing like parables.
I don't know how loud you need to be. You could watch it later and find that out. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at all three of these. And you're going to decide what variable, and I'm going to only do one of them. So if you want to do the same as me, if you want to do the same as me, just wait a moment.
Dude, do Y. It's literally already negative.
Why don't you do that?
Do Z.
Well,
X is already
positive.
positive.
Dude,
But
look
we're
at
just not
2.
gonna do
It's -2
I
positive.
just
So just
show
get
you how to set up.
So it's the same thing as Z.
Okay, I would choose Y.
Why?
What?
Because it's already all. I get it.
Because if you look at, they're already all 2s. And there's already some positives and negatives. But that is not the only way.
I get it.
So if you were yelling at me, I would choose Z, then in your assignment, you can choose Z. You have to take one test. Okay, so we stay organized, and when you look back at my work, or if I look at your work, I should not have to guess what you're doing. You're going to tell me, I'm going to eliminate Y.
I'm a do this.
I did not hear what you said, dear. Oh, I'm still passing out. Okay, so if I add together equation 1 and equation 2, I don't even have to do any extra work. The y's will eliminate. So I get 4x. Oh no, the z's eliminated also. Oh no.
Wait, if they both eliminate,
No, it's not.
if they both eliminate at the same time, you can just cross them both out, or do you have to rewrite it?
No, you can just cross them both off. So what actually happened, I lucked out, because my goal is to solve for one variable. That's what I just did.
Easy.
Yay!
That's like.
Okay, so now I can solve for x. And then we do back substitution. So I need to substitute this in to an equation that only has 2 variables.
That's not right.
Then I still have to do another elimination.
How?
Well, I could use 1 and 3, or I could use 2 and 3. But I still have to eliminate y. You got to do the same variable twice. So this one ended up not having a z also, but that's okay. What are we going to do? 1 and 3? Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can read
I would do 1 and 3, but you can do what you want.
I'm doing 2 and 3, so you have better in this way.
Well, the work will look different, so I don't know if you'll be able to tell how bad you mess up.
Well, if I get the wrong answer, then
Oh, you're going to just go all the way through? Okay. So now I'm going to do that, and it eliminated the x's and the y's, and I got 5z equals negative 20, so z equals negative 4.
How's that negative? What? That's all, bro. I thought that was a 2.
oh, that's
Did I make a mistake, or? So if they just happen to cancel out more variables than you meant, that means you have less work to do. It's okay. So at this point, I know 2 variables. When I know 2 variables, I plug them in where?
Back into one of these.
1, 2, or 3. So I'm actually skipping all the way to plug in
Hold up.
1.
How are you going to figure out
I'm ahead.
that?
Hold on. What'd you say, hon? How am I going to figure out what?
Their space is where are you going to figure out the answers to go to their space?
I don't know what spaces you're talking about.
Like the 4x and the equals negative 4 and then the space to do the or something.
Oh, you mean right here?
I've already confused
No.
myself.
Oh, you mean from here to here? Yeah, I just divided by 4. I just didn't write it.
Oh, so that's just space.
Yeah, and then I divide by 5. I left space, but I didn't actually write what goes in there. Sorry. That was just me solving it. So now, because I have 2 variables, I can plug it in an equation that has 3 variables. So I'm going to go all the way back to plug in 1. So I'm going to have -1 minus 2 times, I don't know why, plus z is -4 equals -11. So now I'm just solving for y. -5